Do you have conversations with Bob Quinn at all about during this season, or do you expect all that to be done after the season?
I'm not certain what you're referring to, but in terms of conversation, we talk every single day, like 50 times a day.
Yeah, I mean about your job with one more year in your contract.
You know what? We talk about one thing and one thing only, and that's trying to get ourselves in position to win that particular week. And that's what we do constantly, trying to improve the roster, get us in great shape, those kinds of things.
Just to be direct, then, has Bob Quinn or anyone in the front office or anyone in ownership told you you'll be back?
Just to be direct, I wouldn't tell you if they did, because I'm not focused in on that.
Okay, as a guy that used to be in those press conferences in Washington, D.C. year after year after year, I take offense to that, B-Mac. They're getting ready for a playoff game, and you're asking a guy about his job security. Good for you, Jim Caldwell, when you finally in the rebuttal said, just to reiterate, if we did have those conversations, I wouldn't tell you about them anyway. What are we talking? I mean, shouldn't we be focused on the game? It's a fair question. If they're 5-11, that's a fair question.
You know what? Maybe the reporter did not do his homework and he wasn't prepared to ask questions dealing with the playoffs. Clearly, this does not make any sense. This is a guy that has gotten the Detroit Lions to the playoffs 2 out of the 3 years. This is a team that was that close in winning their division, something they haven't done since the 90s. So, yes, the Detroit Lions, they're relevant. They are relevant. Jim Caldwell has done a tremendous job since being named the head coach there in Detroit. He has gotten the best out of his quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Oh, by the way, this team has really flourished without a Hall of Famer in Calvin Johnson.
Gone.
And you're going to ask Caldwell about job security when they're preparing for a first-round playoff game against a Super Bowl winner in the Seattle Seahawks. This does not make any sense.
27-21 is 3 years, as you mentioned, 2 out of 3 going to the postseason. Mom always
We're
taught
talking
me,
about Detroit.
right?
Detroit.
Yeah, Mom always taught me time and place. There's a time and place for certain things. That's not the time nor place. And by the way, as you mentioned, it's not relevant to the conversation at hand. He's done things that they haven't done in Detroit since the 90s, going to 2 out of the 3, and you're asking the guy
I mean, one time, Detroit Lions fans, they would jump for joy for 8-8.
If I'm in that room and that question's asked, I'm going, what are you doing? You're making us all, as members of the media, look bad.
I mean, he probably didn't do his homework. He didn't know exactly who the Detroit Lions were getting ready to play.
Good for you, Jim
Caldwell. Did he
Caldwell.
think the season was over?
Yeah, right. Like you would do that at the post-mortem
exit meeting.
Like if you're 5-11 or 4-12, or you're the Browns, maybe you can get to those touchy subject matters and ask those type of pointed questions. But you're going to the postseason, as you mentioned, probably should have won the division, except Aaron Rodgers.